Greetings, I am Live.
And I am Scandal.
And
let's play a game together. Yes.
And if this screen cap, without knowing what it was, isn't weird to you, honestly, because it's a little weird to me just coming in and being like,
yeah.
You just get Rena off on the side somewhere. They're so inconsiderate to us people who play these games and capture them for videos. Don't they consider that all the frames need to look attractive?
Right? All right, let's go.
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Granny Baba looks at me, her wrinkled face sparkling under the light. There's literally no light in this room except Rena's unnatural glow.
Which is to say, everyone has an unnatural glow. Really, if they're a, Prime character.
If they have an illustration.
Optimus Prime!
She smiles. And I smile back. So can't believe they described this room as an office. I'm like, your artists and your writers don't talk to each other.
At all!
Ugh. Handsome boy. Handsome boy. Rena leans forward in front of Granny Baba.
Granny, this is Mister. He's my best friend.
Granny must have hearing problems.
Granny, this is Mister.
Leans forward right next to Granny's ear. Granny, this is Mister.
Sorry, I do not mean, I find that trope to be irritating sometimes, for sure. And it is definitely a joke that has been made, and it really is one of those things of going, you guys fucking stop screaming at people.
Could you?
It's fine.
Please, maybe.
Okay.
Rena looks at me and whispers.
Granny Baba is one of the patients in the Alzheimer's ward that they keep behind the morgue.
That the Alzheimer's ward
Oh, my fucking God!
is behind the morgue.
That's so bad!
Either that, or it's on the other side of the hospital, but there's a passageway through it to the morgue, to the other side of the hospital.
Yeah, no, not happening.
The Alzheimer's unit, which is attached to the morgue. Whatever way you slice it, you're gonna have, if you don't have locks and controls on your patients that aren't aware enough to know where they're wandering.
Oh look, they've forgotten their memories completely. Just toss them in there until they actually die.
They're just wandering into the morgue, trying to know and remember and understand what's happened to them. If they have any level of dementia as well, just going in the morgue, just opening and closing drawers, dragging bodies around. I don't know what I'm doing. It's fine.
Oh God.
Why would you ever? Okay, of all the
so
things,
dark.
Alzheimer unit attached to the morgue is gotta be the biggest one.
That takes the cake.
Yes, cake has been given. You get this cake.
You won in fucking disturbing shit today.
Wow.
Wow, my dude and I live in the United States. That's saying a lot.
There we go.
Ha! Which actually it isn't, because this is clearly a fictional setting, and nothing in a fictional setting will be as horrible or as gross or as terrible or as
ever comparable to a real experience.
At all.
You stubbing your toe in real life is more of a tragedy than the worst fiction you can come up with.
Yes, and the fact that people love to say that no books do that, I'm like, no, I can't handle it. Anyway, apparently she sneaks out from time to time, but the fucking nurses are going, it's a ghost, don't interact with it, it's fine. Louisa, I'm just going to say, either that or they're both going to end up being right. Do you hate that sometimes where you watch a story or a series and they're like, no, we've proven this very normal and natural way of doing it, and at the end they're like, but maybe.
But there could be a ghost too.
And you're like, I'm going to hurt you.
Like, thanks. Alzheimer's ward? You mean she's having memory problems? Not she has them and it's a state of her being, but she's having them currently. Okay. So look, we're gonna read what Alzheimer's is.
Hang on, but actually,
quick.
my curiosity was actually going, what is the difference between Alzheimer's
and what?
And dementia?
So Alzheimer's can come with dementia or not. Dementia is something separate.
Yeah, but I'm going, what are the differences? Does that make sense? Sometimes, to me,
dementia doesn't have to include any memory loss at all.
Okay.
At all. Alzheimer's is characteristic by memory loss.
So Alzheimer's commonly causes dementia.
Because dementia is lack of organizing yourself. So just look up what dementia is real quick.
Hang on. I'm Googling. Okay, dementia is a general term for symptoms and decline in memory, reasoning, or other thinking skills. Alzheimer's is a specific brain disease that accounts for 60 to 80% of dementia cases, according to the Alzheimer's Association.
Right. So the thing is from what I understand, and my very first job was in a nursing home where I didn't learn much about it, but it was supported by my experience in the psych program at the community college that I went to at the same time, was an experience that dementia can be caused by Alzheimer's because Alzheimer's is affecting your memory. And dementia is essentially you seem disorganized, you can't, focus on what you're doing, you will mistake things for other things, you get angry and upset. There are like regular dementia patients and then like violent dementia patients, the ones that are angry and frustrated about not being able to make sense of their reality. And a lot of people can liken dementia or dementia outbreaks, if you will, in behavior to being like in an altered state where the reality around you doesn't make sense to you.
Okay.
And so, yeah, sometimes if you don't have memories or you have big holes in your memory, your reality won't make sense, causing essentially a behavior, a dementia type behavior.
Okay.
Because you're acting out against it not making sense, or you're using essentially dream logic to try and interact with the world, and so it's not real reality you're settled in.
See, the thing that, okay, so they're saying also as well that Alzheimer's is specifically a disease while dementia is not, for example.
Dementia is a symptom.
Yeah, but I'm also going like, but that still doesn't, they're not really making it very clear, but then again, they're like, they do kind of feed into each other, so...
Again, dementia can exist without Alzheimer's, and dementia can also be an incredibly temporary state that you experience, like in an altered state. Some drugs cause dementia while you're under the influence of them. Does that make sense?
Okay. Now I get you. All right.
So dementia is an expressive experience, while Alzheimer's an affliction.
Right. That thing where you said before is that it's something is a symptom, not a disease. Where we've talked about before in regards to sometimes what you have is a symptom, but it's not actually a problem. Where people go, God, my arm hurts, but then you help your arm, and then suddenly you find out it's actually something else.
Or it can be, I have a cough. The cough is not the disease. It's not the virus. It's a symptom.
Right. That one. Which,
there you go.
Okay. There we go. I was like, hi.
You're trying to get there. It's okay.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
okay.
I gotcha,
I think
fam.
it's the thing that I've always been really confused by, though, is because a lot of people like using Alzheimer's and dementia interchangeably. So that's why I was like, so
and I think
does she have dementia? Which is where...
I really think that's an exposure thing. I think it's because you have your Alzheimer's and dementia ward,
right,
which is for cases of Alzheimer's and also of dementia that are usually together, because you don't usually put someone in a ward for dementia if it's not caused by something consistent where they're going to experiencing it regularly.
Right.
There are other types of mental illness that can cause dementia behaviors, but like that kind of thing.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
So hopefully that made sense to everyone. If I jumbled any of my words and you know better, I apologize. Please feel free to clarify. Also, some of that while I was trying to describe it out to my friend was really I might not have, again, used exact correct phrasing for it's not that, but I was after the spirit of the thing, and I think I got there.
There's also the thing that, yeah, definitely between the two of us, where my dad might be a doctor. He's a different type of doctor. My dad didn't deal with people who had Alzheimer's and the like.
And I was one of those people that when I started getting into psychology, I really liked basically it was very important to me. I say liked, but it wasn't like a positive thing, but I was very interested in it, so that's a type of liking it.
It's fascinating.
Right. Yeah. I was very engaged in the experiences of people and how they're handled in various states of challenge or duress, because I feel like when things get exacerbated in a relationship, and I say relationship, but people relate to each other, all fashions, there is an experience of whatever the system was of people relating to each other, any issues or cracks in it get massively magnified.
Right.
So if you treat people a little bit poorly in general, but no one really notices it, when something goes wrong, it gets hugely expanded in awareness because everything ramps up to 100. And when your tiny little gap gets ramped up to 100, it's a big ass cliff.
Right.
So that kind of stuff, and dementia and Alzheimer's were very interesting to me because of basically treating people with dignity and decency and being aware of essentially the scope of human experience. Anyway, you mean she's having memory problems? Rena frowns and starts crying again. I mean, her eyes well with tears. There's just this high gloss of liquid that's just pooling at the base of her eyes as she frowns.
She does, unfortunately. But despite not having all her memories, she's one of the nicest old ladies in this hospital that I have never met before, never talked about, never had any consideration for until now, where I've completely proven that, it's just the old lady.
So she's one of the nicest old ladies in the hospital. It doesn't matter that you've never met her before, because you've met all the other old ladies in this hospital, and now that you've met the last one of the ladies in this hospital, the old ones, just the old ones, then you can measure her effectively against all the other ones, and she's one of the nicest. And I know we're nitpicking this sort of thing all the time, and characters really can use whatever unreliable or exaggerating language they want, but I think it's funny as shit how generic their language is, and yet how absolute it is throughout this game.
Yeah, it's also genuinely frustrating because then it makes everybody start sounding the same. Everybody's the nicest. Do you see what I mean?
Rena's one of the nicest people. Well,
Your mom's the nicest.
She's only one of the nicest people in the hospital, though, so her scope's way smaller.
Yeah.
Like, she's not one of the nicest old ladies in the world. And she's also not, like, a nice lady. She's one of a nice old lady. So, like, when someone says, you know, you're really good at that for a girl, they're narrowing down your scope of how good you are at it. So she's nice for the old ladies in this hospital only.
Right.
So the bar's not maybe that high.
You know, because they're all dead and next to the morgue. Oh
It's
God.
fine. It's really easy to move them over when they're done.
That's why I'm like, holy shit,
King
that's
is so morbid.
Go on, you can talk to her. She won't bite. Ha ha ha.
I was talking to her until you interrupted, actually.
What? No, you need to talk to her more like she is a child and incapable, and I clearly have this better.
We also need to have a quiet conversation in front of her, pretending that she doesn't know that we're talking, since she can't hear us. Because you know, when people have hearing difficulties, it's very common for people who are hearing to act like they can't tell that you're talking when you talk really quietly or away from them, rather than that they just know they're not included. And it can be a little bit rough, honestly, but that might be overly sensitive for someone who just wants sport.
There's also the problem, too, that I'm having with this, is that we really did just meet this character, and Rena, I don't know, like, it seems to kind of vaguely be implying that Rena has met Grandma Baba before, but there's also part of the thing of going, she immediately knows what her issues are and where they are. Of course, the Alzheimer's ward attached to the morgue, like,
Also,
what the fuck, you
somehow
know?
it didn't, like, distress or bother anybody in the Alzheimer's ward, even somebody who suffers from memory problems and wanders at night, to have a child scream dramatically in their presence.
Oh, yeah.
That's
like
fine.
this is really artificial.
Like, not
stuff
a
like this is really, so I would call this is called an insensitive portrayal. Again.
Yes, that's it.
Hey!
And that's what I was basically nodding at as well with the whispered conversation, where she leans past Grandma Baba to listen, to whisper to us.
Mm-hmm.
There is a lot of dismissal of people with hearing difficulties, and the side of TikTok that I've been on has been really, really cool, because I love, like, people who engage in adaptive inclusiveness, whether it is for their own benefit and people in their own community, or for those around them, including those who speak ASL and are, you know, hearing impaired, what have you. It's really cool to learn and be more sensitive, to listen to the types of things that they experience.
Sorry,
to listen
we're giggling because we're performing a hand sign at each other because
because we learned what jellyfish is,
and it was good. Or at least what we gathered because it was a little fast, but I like it's pretty funny.
It's jellyfish. Yeah, no, I mean, so the thing is I looked it up. It's really good though. The jellyfish hand sign is about as cute as the turtle hand sign. It's wonderful. I say, but anyway, so I've been in that community, and there's a lot of people in the deaf and hearing impaired community, at least on TikTok, that talk about how people are really inconsiderate to them. Thank you. Hearing about hard of hearing. Anyway, whatever it is, I'm not sure what the proper terms are, because I haven't run into the part where everyone talks about terms to refer to themselves that would be best and most friendly.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
I
but
only
the part
know
of it,
one person on Tumblr who refers to themselves as HOH, so hard of hearing. So,
okay. I was just say, but there has been a lot of talking about how hearing people are incredibly and deeply inconsiderate of in-hearing people, or less hearing people, less hearing-abled people, and that they don't realize that they are. Like, all the time, there's a lot of things where it's like, and now I know how to not include you in the conversation by just moving away from you. And, like, if you wouldn't do that to someone who could hear you, don't do it to them.
Yeah,
You know?
it's pretty shitty.
Anyway,
right.
so that was what that nod was to.
She won't bite. Ha ha! I have read all of her medical information in the last 2 seconds.
And I'm just telling you because I believe it.
Uh-huh.
All right, what should I say to Granny Baba, who I was talking to? Oh, because she called me a nice boy, a handsome boy? Handsome boy. What should I say to her? Should I say she's really pretty for an old lady?
Oh.
Whoa.
My God.
That feels incredibly ableist, that math problem.
All of the things look terrible.
You, like my mom, suggest she looks very young for her age, actually.
Okay, so
Are you a ghost sounds honestly the least insensitive and the most direct. Just to be fair, but I don't think he would ask the math problem. He's never engaged with math ever.
there's also the thing of, are you a ghost? Is those still really dismissive anyway? I still doubt the existence and the reality of you being here.
Okay,
Like,
but he did ask Rena, so we have precedent for him asking people if they're a ghost.
That's
And
true,
that wasn't-
and not all questions have to be really nice and sensitive, and we've already proven this character is kind of selfish and sort of a bastard. So, it's what it is.
Yeah, like he's not a very aware or sensitive kid at all.
The fact that you would have questions like this.
Like I said,
I
that
am actually
deeply uncomfortable. Like the fact that there's a math problem in there is ridiculous to me. Like going, I should test you in some way. Why? For what possible reason? Now, part of me goes, morbidly, I'm curious how she would answer it if she would just blow his fucking mind, kind of thing. But I'm not going to pick that because I don't think he would say that at all. I really do feel like, based on precedent, he would say, are you a ghost? And since he's been so obsessed with how old people look, and we've never mentioned his mom ever at all, except for we had a choice to choose, are my parents at the door?
That's the other thing, though, too. You look like my mom. You look really old.
So is your
my
mom
looks really
a
old.
grandma?
And grandma.
Grandma aged kind of thing? Going, again, were you also a menopause baby, mister? Anyway, so yeah, that's this one. I'm gonna ask, are you a ghost? Because I think it's reasonable.
I guess the thing is also 1 and 2 could be completely more benign in regards to the rest of it. I'm just super thrown off by the last one.
Yeah, number 3 seems aggressive.
Like, whoa.
And really challenging. Kind of thing of going, I should interact with your memory and basically also challenge your intelligence. One thing that bothers me is when people are trying to test people's memory and cognitive ability and just basically seeing how present they are in the moment. And this happened to my mom a lot, who her seizure disorder actually caused her to have gaps or loss in her memory through all of the time I've ever known her. People would sometimes ask really dumbass questions like, name the presidents. It's like she can't do that, just like I can't do that when she's just fine.
Which actually I think is really funny and has actually been a thing that's been a bit of mockery in regards to the United States, as far as I understand, just kind of our education system, where you're going, the United States likes priding itself and how good our education is. And they're like, we can go and quiz people, and you can go into a bigger country, and they have far more aware answers. They're way more active, they're way more involved, they know more of what they're talking about. The United States overall is, in a lot of ways, really basically self-centered, and we really don't know much about what's going on, which makes, honestly, the advent of social media so fucking fascinating, because you get to see literally now everybody's opinions, and everybody gets to basically have either the information or they get corrected and endorsed.
And a lot of countries and individuals from those countries get to speak for themselves. And sort of like the groupthink of Wikipedia, you can then get a clearer picture, even if there are some bias ideas, of what people think of themselves and how they see their situations in those places, instead of getting it second, third, fourth, fifth, filtered through the news hand.
Right.
That kind of thing. Anyway, so I'm going to say, are you a ghost? Granny Baba? Are you a ghost? And then Rena can have the joy of hearing me ask someone else and think it's a major personality trait that I have.
Anyway.
Mister, I don't think that's a nice question to ask.
Yeah, well, they were all kind of rude things to say, except for, honestly, though, I'm not kidding you. Saying you look like my mom could be telling her she looks really young for her age.
I know.
But I asked you and you didn't say it was rude. I thought I should just make her laugh. Ghost? What is with do?
Oh, look, the pirate music is back.
It's like an organ grinder suddenly. Wow. All right. Ghost? A ghost? She raises her arms and mimics the movements of a ghost from the cartoons. Do ghosts in cartoons put their arms up? I thought they didn't have arms usually.
I think it's like more like the 1930s ghosts where they're like, ooh,
oh, okay, yeah, I can see that. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Why would he be familiar with 1930s cartoon ghost behavior a lot?
I don't know, because rubber hosing is popular now, and
It's fine.
It's fine.
Ooh, ghost! Yeah, that's right. You're not a ghost, are you? You just scratch and knock and moan at people's doors.
Hang on, it says aren't you. You're not a ghost, aren't you? That's a double negative.
You're right. You're not a ghost, aren't you? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure that's a double negative, so that means that she is a ghost?
I guess.
Oh, boy.
Rena looks surprised at first, but she finally succumbs to the humor. Granny, Baba has a better sense of humor than you.
Clearly.
Rena. I say superiorly.
Look what you made her do, mister! She's like a toy!
You could just make her do stuff!
Yay!
Granny Baba smiles at me once more, and the fun is over because the music has stopped.
And suddenly my brain is like, and then we're gonna get involved in fucking the Eddie Murphy movie where Grandma takes off her stuff. I'm fine. It's okay. That fucking ad has haunted me for years.
She then raises a bony finger and points at me. 'Twas you! Oh. Then she points at Rena. Huh. You? And her? Is she your girlfriend?
Because this always happens in
And
stories
Rena is
like this.
super uncomfortable with the idea.
Ah!
That is her panicked, scared, uncomfortable face. So exciting that we'll want to romance this person.
I'm so tired of this trope.
Oh my god. I don't want to shove Rena in her deeply, profoundly uncomfortable. The idea that we could choose to date her at the end of this when she has been profoundly uncomfortable with every advance Mr. has put on her and every suggestion that the two of us might be together, and the fact that she showed no initial interest in him at all, even being like, why would we ever see each other again? And that he's basically sort of pushed his way into all of this. Super uncomfortable for me. Again, fiction, no problem, but uncomfortable for me. You're asking if she is my girlfriend?
We'll find out in the next one, because it seems pretty obvious to me. But thank you for joining us, guys. If you like what we do, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and also share our videos. And please feel free to go check out our Ko-Fi or Patreon. I got some links in the description down below. And I have been Scandal.
And I have been Lies. And it was great playing with you. Bye!